This is the Transforming Anxiety podcast with Kelly Hanlon McCormick, and today is episode number 210. What is the opposite of anxiety? Welcome to Transforming Anxiety. I'm your host, Kelly McCormick. I'm a mom to 2 boys, a wife, friend, daughter, and sister, and I'm a certified life coach, yoga teacher, and soon-to-be mindfulness meditation teacher. I'm no stranger to anxiety, and I'm here to teach you how to manage your mind and your emotions so that you too can transform anxiety into calm, peace, and whatever you want for your life. I'm so glad you're here. Hey there. Welcome in today. Happy Wednesday. Good morning, or whatever day or whatever time. I hope you're doing well, that you're making it through March, maybe spring break, maybe winter, maybe who knows what's happening. March, I feel like, is kind of a hodgepodge of all the things. And I don't know about you guys, it's like the slippery slide from here to the end of the school year. Like the schedule starts turning into a hot mess. It's light later in the evening. It's just like routine, and some of this stuff, like all bets are off once we hit spring break. So let's talk about anxiety today, but also more importantly, more specifically, I want to consider, this is kind of a fun topic because it's something I've been thinking about for a while. I want to consider what is the opposite of anxiety, because off the cuff, I think most people would say something like calm or peace, right? Maybe being relaxed. I looked it up actually in the thesaurus just to see what the official antonyms of anxiety were, and I found calmness and serenity. So there we go. And I think that's probably about right. That's what we think the opposite of anxiety is. But I want to give this a closer look today because I have a hypothesis that I'm trying out this year, and it's been pretty interesting so far to juxtapose anxiety against something very different than these things like calm or peace or being chill and cool. But actually, let's talk about calmness and peace for a moment. I just want to explore there for a second, because I actually think we could feel anxious and be at peace. Like we could feel an undercurrent or even active anxiety and have a sense of calm about our lives, right? Our families, our work, even ourselves. I think these can coexist. We humans, I don't know if you've noticed, we're pretty complicated, we're pretty sophisticated beings, and we contain multitudes, right? We are capable of multiple emotions simultaneously, even seemingly opposing emotional energies at the same time. It's pretty wild. I can think of multiple times in my life when I was feeling pretty damn good about things and would have flares of anxiety, like episodes of panic and anxiety that would blow through pretty much an otherwise fairly calm season of my life. Like college. This is a really clear example. I could feel pretty steady all semester, but when it came to finals week, I would feel extremely anxious, right? All wound up, nervous, just overall panicky. It was hard to settle down during those couple weeks each year, and things were fine. I wouldn't necessarily have said that I was feeling anxious overall those years. It was mostly just episodic, right? It would flare up when things got intense, when the stakes got high, when there was a lot to do all at once, like during finals week. So sometimes I think we're reaching towards something like calm or peace as an antidote to anxiety. Like we can either feel calm or anxious. We can be at peace or be freaking out. But again, I don't know about you. I think I have it in me to do both, right? Call this emotional multitasking. It's like Okay, here's another one. Can you find a spot on your body that feels warm and another spot on your body that feels cold? Right? It's like we can be both. Okay, so my point in saying all of this is that when we're really considering transformation, when we're considering changing our lives and not having anxiety be such an overarching experience and defining emotion in our lives, my point is that we need to intentionally seek out what we want, what heals, what truly transforms us, not superficial, seemingly opposing emotions or band-aids or short-term, quick hit, temporary solutions. And like I said, I'm working on this idea, this hypothesis, that there is an opposite to anxiety, something that truly transforms anxiety. And it's not even in the family of calm or peace or serenity. My theory is that the opposite of anxiety is honesty. So hang out with this for a minute. Let's think about it. What if honesty is the opposite of anxiety? What if being more truthful, more real, more genuine, right? What if honoring yourself, speaking up, staying in alignment with your gut, what if that is the opposite of anxiety? I'm not necessarily talking about huge lies here. Okay, when you think about honesty, maybe you're thinking like, okay, not telling a huge whopper of a lie. I don't mean dishonest in the sense that you're walking around lying, stealing, and cheating. Although, yeah, I mean, sure, of course, those things, those actions would certainly make it hard to live a life that feels whole, that feels steady, that feels grounded and authentic. Yes, right? But assuming that you're not engaging in those, or that you're in the process of getting the big stuff, that low-hanging fruit, the big lies, that you're in the process of getting that cleaned up already, I'm talking here about much more subtle ways of lying, much more subtle ways of being dishonest. Things like if someone invites you to a party and you really don't want to go, but you say yes anyway. Or if you keep working at a job that you hate for a company with potentially questionable ethics just because the pay is good. Or if you know you don't want to do another Thanksgiving with your extended family because it's a train wreck every year, and every year you sign up and you bring mashed potatoes and you white knuckle your way through it. You see what I mean? These aren't outright lies. They're just not you. It's like you're lying in a way to yourself. So here's a few more examples. Maybe you've been questioning your relationship with alcohol. You have this sneaking suspicion that the reasons why you're drinking or how much you're drinking, or maybe you see that your kids are starting to take cues about how to have fun, how to relax, how to celebrate from you and your drinking, how you're doing it. And you just have this hunch that something in that isn't quite right for you. Like you're a little bit out of alignment with yourself regarding alcohol. But maybe you haven't shifted or changed anything in your actions yet. So it's all just kind of ping-ponging around in your mind and in your gut, right? Again, it's not an outright lie, but you see that you're not being fully and wholly honest with yourself and what you really want for your life. Another sneaky one that I hear about a lot is social media and maybe how often you're on your device. You know that you want to be more present in your life, that you don't want to be constantly distracted with notifications and alerts and emails and text messages, but you're finding that you're absolutely tethered to your phone in a way that makes it seem as if it's almost this extension of you, right? I mean, look around. You're hardly alone there. We're all surrounded by people with highly questionable relationships to electronic devices and phones. But you know that you want to be living your life differently, that you want to experience work and family and relaxation in a different way. So there's like this little mismatch between the real you, the authentic you, and what's happening in the world, right? What you're doing, like how you're showing up. And that difference, that's what I'm talking about. Those little places where you are just out of sync with your true self. It's probably not a bold-faced lie or a complete abandonment of yourself. It's just these seemingly subtle and small ways of ignoring yourself, of ignoring your desired path for yourself all day, every day, and it stacks up. Brené Brown said this in her book, The Gifts of Imperfection. She said, authenticity is a collection of choices that we have to make every day. It's about the choice to show up and be real, the choice to be honest, the choice to let our true selves be seen. I think about this choice to be honest with ourselves, to honor ourselves, to know what we want and need, and then even more than knowing it, to take action to make it so, to speak it and to live it. It's a choice. In fact, it's a million tiny choices pretty much every day. It's a nonstop effort and activity to choose. But I'm starting to see and really understand that this is an important choice. This is almost required, really, in order to live well, to be you. It's not about eradicating anxiety from your life, but in order to live well with it, which is the ultimate goal around here, we have to be authentic. And that authenticity, that is a collection of choices rooted in honesty. Pema Chodron, she wrote this in her book, When Things Fall Apart. She says, the most fundamental aggression to ourselves, the most fundamental harm we can do to ourselves is to remain ignorant by not having the courage and the respect to look at ourselves honestly and gently. Pema always speaks like this to me. Her words are always such a balm to how I'm thinking and feeling, but this was so good, so right on with what we're talking about today. It's a fundamental aggression to ourselves. The most fundamental way we harm ourselves is to not get honest with ourselves. Yes, it encapsulates this whole episode so beautifully. We have to be willing to have the courage and the respect to look at ourselves honestly and gently, to be honest. Right? I use the word anxiety a lot, obviously, but I use it both specifically, like as we've talked about ad nauseum around here, and I also use it kind of generally because I think it's become this like catch-all bucket in our society for anything that feels kind of icky. And I honestly really like this way of talking about it, actually, this reframe, a fundamental aggression to ourselves. That's a lot of what drives anxiety after all, these aggressions to ourselves. This way of oh so subtly harming ourselves. This matters. This is so important to look at. Having the courage and the respect to look at ourselves honestly and gently. Yes, this is so good. All right, John Lennon said, being honest may not get you a lot of friends, but it'll always get you the right ones. And this is just a good reminder. How many of us pretend, play that whole keeping up with the Joneses game, and just act like we are interested, right? Or that we're a part of something, or that we're dying to show up, right? Simply because we want to belong. Like, I'll be the first to raise my hand on that one. Being honest about who you are, what you want, what you dream about, what you love, it may not be super popular, but it'll always, always, always net you your people, the right people. Maybe not a lot of people, but the right ones. I have found this out the hard way a few times. Like I found this out when I quit corporate America. I found this out when I quit drinking. When I quit staying out too late, even though too late for me is like 10 p.m. I found this out when I quit saying yes to things I didn't want to do. When I quit the PTA, when I said no to the HOA committee, when I didn't buy the on-trend clothes or bags or makeup, when I didn't know that everyone was doing their brows and their lashes now. I found this out when I prioritized myself, when I said no to family things that I didn't want to go to. I found this out when I started saying yes to myself. I have found this out the hard way, which this is what I'm trying to say. In fact, I keep finding this lesson to be true. Like it keeps showing up. You don't have to be popular. You really don't. It's far more empowering, far more freeing, and a lot less anxiety inducing to be you, which won't always jive with the masses. I can promise you that. But it will jive with the right people. It will jive with your people every time. I promise you that. Fred Rogers said, aka Mr. Rogers, he said, the greatest gift you ever give is your honest self. I want to pause on this one for a moment because I think when we hear this initially, we're not so sure, right? We think, I don't know, if the world only knew. We think we need to shine things up, right? That we need to show up as a better or prettier or smarter or more successful or just more generally put together version of ourselves. That we need to be more than we are, right? Further down the path. So I don't think this one necessarily resonates right away. That the greatest gift you ever give is your honest self. But I want you to consider someone in your life. Your partner, a close friend, maybe an aging family member, a child, someone that you just absolutely adore. And I want you to imagine that they have something, some part of them, that they don't think is fit for public consumption. Something they're hiding, something they are desperately hoping the world does not find out about them. Now consider this quote. Consider this idea that the greatest gift that person could ever give is their whole, complete, true, honest self. It lands a little bit differently, right? Because you want to know that person that you already love so much. You want them to know that they're completely lovable, all of them. You want to fully know who they are and what they want, what they dream about, all of it, because you love them so much. You're here for all of it. So same for you. This is true. The greatest gift is your honest self. This is true for all of us. And it just feels so good to be a truth teller about who you are, like down to your bones. And listen, this doesn't mean that you have to tell all the people all the things all the time. You absolutely can and should choose what you share, with whom, and when, right? But be honest. Be honest with yourself and share what you share honestly, whatever that looks like. All right, so welcome to my working hypothesis. This is my ongoing research project into the opposite of anxiety. Honesty. Truth-telling. I have a good feeling about this, that calm and peace are all good and fine, right? They're just not true opposites of anxiety. Not in a real sense, not in a sense that changes anything. Like if you want to transform, get more honest. And start with yourself. Understand and be aware, honestly and gently of yourself and see what this frees up in you. All right. I will see you at the same time, same place next week for more Transforming Anxiety. Please don't forget to rate and review the show, particularly if you're listening on Apple and Spotify. It helps our other anxious friends out there find the show, and I'd really appreciate your help that way. I will see you soon. And until then, please take care. Do you have someone to help you with your stress, anxiety, worry, and overwhelm? If not, I would love to be your coach. The Fierce Calm Project is my virtual coaching program where we get to go in on topics like this one, and I can help you apply these lessons to your life so that you're creating your own transformation. We do live coaching calls, guided meditations, on-demand yoga classes. We hold book club where we read books your neighborhood book club won't, and there's lots of bonus content that I've created just for you. When you're ready to take what you're learning on the podcast to a whole other level, then come on over and check out the Fierce Calm Project at kellyhanlonmccormick.com/Fierce Calm Project.